I have a long, long, long history with Star Fox. It is possibly one of the very first video games I ever played. I so long ago that I can't even properly remember it. So long ago that when I played Star, I remember this explicitly. I was going to tell this story, out at a later point in time, but I was so young when I first played Star Fox. I could not actually tell the difference between Star Fox and Star Fox 64. So that is a thing that can happen, when you're just that young and just that like unknowledgeable in how things. So like there were times when like I would play Star Fox 64, right? I was like seriously trying to learn it, at a very, very young age. And I was looking at it and I was learning this stuff and uh, I was wondering like where is the polygonal lined hallway, because I explicitly remember playing a Star Fox game, this game having this hangar that you just sort of like shoot through out into the level, and like I could not find that in Star Fox 64. Like I thought it was like hidden in the game somewhere, but no, it was like the original that like I did not have access to at that point in time. So yeah, that's sort of a an interesting little anecdote there. And and I've noticed like other people doing that too. Like history repeats itself because I know someone who very young who confused Dragon Quest VIII with Dragon Quest VII because they saw me playing both, and like that's something that can happen when you're like very, very young, right? Because like again, the games look the same. They have like a unique visual design. They have like certain things going on. They're like both clear, like the same sort of game, right? So again, it kind of makes sense that like someone who does not know the difference would like think they're the same thing, essentially. Like it's kind of interesting how this can happen sometimes in that regard. Yeah, so I just wanted to do a quick stream about Star Fox, talking about Star Fox, because like Lilat Ace wanted to talk to you about it. Like we wanted to do a stream together, but we were having technical problems, and we just sort of decided that we should just instead just do a general video like stream about Star Fox and talk about the series as a whole and like our opinion on it and things like that, and just everything that's been going on with the series in the past couple of years. And I personally am very, very pleased with Star Fox right now. This is like a very, very unpopular opinion, I think, but I think Zero was a massive step in the right direction. I absolutely loved Zero. It was possibly one of my favorite games of 2016, if not my favorite. I have not played it as much as some people. I know Lilat Ace has put like something like what, uh, 1,500 hours into it last time I checked. I don't know where you're at now, but like it is an extremely complex, deep, intense action game, and I think one that like a lot of people don't really respect all that much because they're just so I'm obsessed with I think arbitrary achievements, right? Like once you get the trophies in every single game, the game like starts losing all value for you, right? Like the entire reason, like the game itself is not. They don't play games because they're fun. They play them for like platinums. Like once you platinum something, right, that means it's lost all of its value, and you sort of see that with Zero a lot, right? Where people say it's like a 3 hour long game when it's actually not. Like it is endlessly replayable. It never stops being fun, and once you like realize how technical it is and like all the stuff you learn, like a lot of people never even like mastered the controls, and that to me understood how good the controls are, because like a lot of people will say that um Star Fox Zero is broken. It has like a broken control scheme. Nobody wanted it. When actually it's really, really good, really, really interesting take on like the genre, and I'm very, very. I I think yeah, Star Fox is very easy to understand, but very difficult to master. How many people have beaten Star Fox 64, but have not like did not realize how the medal system worked? Like it took me a really, really long time to even like understand what the medal was. Like I got the one on Fortuna. I believe that's supposed to be Fachina. I got the one on Star Fox 64. The first time you meet Star Wolf, right? It says Fortuna, but I think it's supposed to be Fachina. The one there where you fight Star Wolf, and do this stuff. Like I got the medal for that as soon as I was able to beat Star Wolf. Like it's probably the easiest medal in the game, right? And I was not, for the longest time, not sure exactly how I did it. Like I what that meant, and it took me a really long time to like go back and seriously try to get all of the medals in that. And yeah, yeah, the medal system. Yeah, the medal system is to teach you the bit. Yeah, yeah, yeah. And after that point, like it just gets like endlessly replayable. Like again, the game isn't just endlessly replayable because of like the alternate endings or the routes or anything like that. Like all the mistakes you can make. Like not that's not the entire picture. Like the entire thing is just you going out and playing the game, right, and just trying to get the highest score. Like Zero does that better than 64, I think. Even though it doesn't have like the same kind of root system, which is admittedly kind of disappointing because I really do like how 64 changes depending on what you do. Like I I don't know. It's kind of weird saying this, but like I was thinking that like Command maybe was the game that kind of emphasized that quality of 64 the best, since like you can go through like all these different things and like play with all these different characters. I don't know. Like Command, I have not played Command since I was a little kid, since like it first came out, I think, and I have no idea what I would think about it now. Like I've played like 64 Adventures and Zero pretty regularly since they came out, right? I know those games pretty well. I have not played Assault or Command nearly as much. Like I've played through Assault a couple of times. I don't think I've played through Assault or Command since they first came out. Like Assault, I think I tried to 100% because I wanted to unlock that Gradius game. Like Xevious, not Gradius. Like I wanted to unlock the Xevious mini game and play that, right? I could never do it because I was just so bad at that game, and like it's not fun enough to like keep you coming back. Like I think I got to like the 6th level before I gave up, and it was just oh yeah. Zero when you Zero changes during the level, not like depending on what you like. The following level does not change depending on what you wait. Zero. Okay. Zero does change, right? There are as you get better in Zero, you'll discover like all of these insane tricks you can do to like pull off stunts and like do things way quicker than you're supposed to do. Like you have that like first playthrough thing where like you do things the way you're scripted to do, right? And then like you can go off the rails and do all sorts of like crazy stuff. Like again, I don't think people realize just how technically deep that game actually is. Sony owned games coming to PC. I don't know what you mean. I would talk about Cuphead, but this is like a Star Fox stream. We wanted to talk about like Star Fox specifically today, really quickly. Yes. So again, my time with Assault was mostly spent with like the multiplayer. We spent a lot of time messing around with the multiplayer in that game, and like I think it's like kind of a meme at this point that like Assault had like really, really good multiplayer. It's not great by any means. Like the main reason we liked it was because like you can roll around, you can like fly in an R-wing, you can do all this stuff. Like again, no online play. It's not like it's not a great third-person shooter. Um, I didn't like enjoy. A lot of the maps are way too big, right? I don't know. Like maybe it was online, it would have been more. Like I don't see why people say it's as good as it is. Like I did play a lot, spend a lot of time playing it, but I think it's because like I was just such a huge established fan of the brand and what they were doing, and just sort of like a jumping out of the ship and just flying circles around. Like that was fun, and like doing stuff like being able to stand on your R wing and like that's what I remember doing is like standing on top of the R wing and like jumping off and like trying to shoot someone with like a bazooka, right? Like that was kind of fun, but like again, that feels more like because like it's not something you would be able to do in like 64, right? Uh, I just yeah, Assault like again, Assault probably has the best narrative out of Star Fox, as I recall. Like it has that like the villains and like the character building moments and just like Tricky comes back out of nowhere. Like I don't know, it feels like it really respects the continuity of the series while still trying to be like its own thing, right? Which is kind of neat. Probably one of the very few Nintendo games that does that. Actually, I think Star Fox is one of the very few Nintendo series that seems to have this very character story driven approach to it. Like the characters have like voices, they have like established personalities. They're not blank slates like Mario and Link are. So I think that's why there's this weird subset of people who don't really like the games but sort of like the characters in spite of that, which is kind of a problem, when it comes to like stuff like Zero, where it tries harkening back to like the old school style of gameplay, like like people getting angry that Crystal isn't in Zero. Like that was a perfectly respect. Like I like Crystal, I do, but I was perfectly fine with her not being in Zero because like to me that just means like when she makes a comeback, it'll be like meaningful, it'll be impactful, in the next release. Uh, that's just my thought on that. But like, I did not understand that weird Like, I did not understand any of the weird backlash towards Zero. Like, it was like everything wrong with the way the Wii U was treated with like a single release, right? You had people like making stuff up about the gamepad controls. You had people like making stuff up about like the story and gameplay, and like it's they were told we were told a lot, right? That it was a simple rehash of Star Fox 64. When, for one thing, that's not true, and for another, that's exactly what these same exact people have been begging for like over 15 years, right? Like a proper sequel to Star Fox Zero. Like again, the complaints towards Adventures, Assault, and Command were primarily, in spite of all of those games' problems, that they weren't enough like 64, that they didn't have the same kind of approach and design. And like Zero did a lot more to really like build off the 64 and do a lot of new things and like really raise the bar when it comes to like the controls and combat and stuff like that. The new continuity, I'm not even sure where like the whole continuity thing is now, because like Zero is like a new thing, right? Like it's just they're fighting Andross again. Whatever, that's fine. I don't care. Uh, um, I don't know. They seem to be building up to something new, but I don't think Zero really went full throttle on what they were going for in that regard. I think they're waiting for like a proper sequel before really going to what's different now. Uh, Man, yeah. I really need to compare the two. That's why I wanted to replay them both back to back because yeah. There was like some character motivation stuff there where there wasn't really before. Yeah, I remember. Uh, yeah, I'm gonna have to like look back on this and like reflect because I actually don't have an opinion on that. on what's going on narrative wise. I was mostly just playing the game. Like it's weird, right? Because like I don't know, like I was kind of I don't know, like where was the story going to go after Command, right? I don't know, like I feel like I know what happened to Command very well, and then like Zero comes out and is just like a reboot basically, and I don't know, it's just hard to keep track when it comes to this reboot stuff. I guess it's why Nintendo series aren't generally super continuity based because like it just leads to these kind of problems where people get confused. Boom. Yeah. So, 64. Yeah. I need to play two. Like I've owned two on like the SNES, the Super Nintendo Classic for a long time, and I still have not gotten around to actually playing it. I've just been too busy playing Animal Crossing, I guess. It is something I want to do, but like I don't know. Like when I do get to play it, then I'll be stuck like waiting for a new Star Fox game, and like that's just something I don't have to do. Um, Me, an indie developer, that is something that's in the cards and something I'm working on, but I don't think that will come to fruition until my actual, thing happens. Because like it is something I'm working on. I have like ideas and stuff like that. But I have something else. Let's put it that way. Something else I'm working on, and like I want to put my full energy towards like becoming an indie developer will happen eventually. Well, a developer, I should say. I'm not sure I'll identify myself as indie. I'd rather just be like a low budget normal company, right? Own a low budget normal company. But yeah, it's something I want to do. Like again, the issue is mostly like cost for me. Oops. Expenses and stuff like that. Like I am researching it and like reading up on it and seeing what to do exactly. So like I have an idea of what I need to do when I do get around to it, but like primarily I'm focusing on like my regular thing. Let's put it that way. Yeah. I really wanted to talk to you for that exact reason. I didn't think you chatting, typing it out would work all that well. I just wanted to like give a brief talk about like Star Fox in general. So yeah, Star Fox 2. Really looking forward to getting around to playing that. Really want to. I've been wanting to play it like for years before it came out. Actually came out, and now that it is, I haven't found the time to play it. But anyway, uh, I did beat it once, but like the thing is, like I didn't like 100% it and like do everything in it, which is kind of disappointing for me. But yeah, I never beat the original either in that regard. Uh, Again, they're just kind of outdated for me, so it's kind of hard for me to get into them. Like I really did start with 64, so like 64 is about like what I like from my Star Fox. The voice acting and just like you know, the visuals and just the design and feel of it. Yeah. Um, and even that's kind of primitive compared to Zero now, which is kind of, I don't know. Like I've played 64 to death, so I probably shouldn't be. There are so many 64 games that like I've just played so much, I just cannot enjoy them anymore. Like F-Zero X comes to mind, Star Fox 64 comes to mind. I don't know, maybe Donkey Kong 64. I don't know. Like I haven't played that one in a while, so maybe it's about time to come back to it because I've come back to Banjo Kazooie and loved it. So we're gonna have to see. 60 Donkey Kong 64 definitely is something that's gonna be played again and talked about when if Rare Replay does come out and Switch with like Nintendo exclusive content, that would be great. I love me some. Oh yeah, we're talking about Rareware now. So yeah, we need to talk about Star Fox Adventures, which is like rather my unpopular opinion, I think, and rightly so. I think is that like I think Adventures is my favorite Star Fox outside of like the good Star Fox. So like yeah, 64, the original 64 and Zero are all better because they're like real Star Fox games. But like of all the ones Star Fox games that aren't really Star Fox games, I think Adventures is my favorite, and that's kind of kind of a weird opinion, I think. But like I really love Zelda. And Adventures is just like a sci-fi themed Zelda with like dinosaurs and stuff like that. So that to me makes it really appealing, even though like it has all these like incredible glaring flaws, right? Really glaring flaws, right? Like I don't know, just the level design and just it's just not very fleshed out, and like the combat and just I don't know, like shit like the R-Wing sections, like all of it feels in some degrees really half-assed, but in other ways, like really well done. Like the visual design is great. I remember really liking the sound effects and some of the elements. Like I don't understand why Fox is such an asshole in this one. Like it seemed like that always stuck out to me as being really weird because like he always shits. Like he talks so much shit to like Tricky for like no reason, and it's just like fuck, when did you become such an asshole? Like, uh, I don't know. Like, he ends up liking him at the end, and it's kind of charming. Like, again, I think that's kind of what makes it work. Is that like I don't know, like it's a different take on Star Fox. Like it has like a lot of Rareware charm to it. Like again, I'm a huge fan of Rareware. Greatest 90 developer hashtag bring back Rare. But Adventures, like, in spite of all of its problems, is still something I really like. In spite of all of that, like again, it's not even like a good Zelda game. Like Wind Waker is so much better. Like it really is. Like it's so much better in every single way. But like if Adventures was like more fleshed out and more interesting, like I could have seen it like being a Zelda game for like the sort of thing that could have appealed to like people who were disappointed with Wind Waker initially, with like the whole like it's cartoony, so it's for kids. Like I don't know, man. Like Star Fox Adventures has like all that stuff, like with the dinosaurs and just like really scary visuals, and just it kind of feels like Twilight Princess almost in its presentation, and that's something that like I think could have been very good and very well handled, and like I still end up appreciating it in spite of how rushed it is, probably due to the Microsoft buyout. And like I don't know, like I'm not sure how good Dinosaur Planet would have been if like Rareware managed to release this game as like an actual original IP like they were going to. I don't know, like I saw some footage of this game, right? And of the original Dinosaur Planet, like a long time ago, and like I was really into it. Like I thought it looked great, and I don't know, it's just disappointing that this game is never ever going to get made, never ever going to get released. I just very disappointing. Dinosaur Planet, I don't know. That's one of like my things, right? I want Rareware to be bought back, and I want like everyone working on Dinosaur Planet to like be able to come back and like finish Star Fox Dinosaur Planet, like maybe bring back the original protagonist, as a villain or something. Like I don't know. Yeah, what was the original plot of Dinosaur Planet? It was like actually a little bit different. Let's Google it. Dinosaur Planet. I wish I could like stream it and like show the footage, because like there is stuff out there regarding it. Dinosaur Planet original beta. Development was in progress somewhere between 1999 and 2000. Originally, the game had nothing to do with the Star Fox series and was intended to be a standalone title. And according to an interview with Shigeru Miyamoto, he had noticed the striking similarities between the game characters and those of Star Fox, and so the decision was made for the game to become a part of Star Fox as a launch title for the Nintendo GameCube. Yeah, the game was still quite similar to later adventures. Yeah, it's kind of interesting. Yeah, Saber replaced by Fox, and then Crystal. So technically, Crystal is the last Nintendo exclusive Rareware character, like the actual, last stand of Rareware. Which I don't know. That's kind of, I think, one of the reasons I'm so fond of her, because like she's such a great design, and like that Rareware is awesome. Just um, Yeah, yeah. Assault isn't balanced for single player. Yeah, yeah, yeah. The single player for Assault is not good. Um, I didn't care for it even back then. Um, yeah, yeah. Everybody was playing Zero wrong, and like they blame the game for it. That's just so frustrating to me. It was, and like people didn't call them out on it. Like everybody was bitching about Nintendo not giving them like options, like to control the game. They don't really understand that like the game simply doesn't work that way. I don't know. Like I hope Star Fox 64 gets Zero gets re-released someday, and I hope people start to warm up to it, because I think it's already pretty much established that this game has like a very very strong people who feel very very strongly about it, who really really love the game. Yeah, yeah, yeah. They'll make more Star Fox games. Like I'm just wondering when exactly they're going to release Zero. Like, are they going to do it on Switch? Are they going to do it on something else? Like, how are they going to do it? I don't know. Like, are they going to make a Labo kit for it? Like, make like a toy gamepad and just make it compatible with it. Um, I don't know. Like, there's all sorts of things they could do. We'll have to see what happens going forward. But yeah, yeah, Dinosaur Planet. Like, there's so much interesting things we know about it from like its existence and stuff like that. Stuff that makes me want to like see more from it. Like Tricky was in Dinosaur Planet. Like he was Fox's partner, and Crystal was a playable character who had a partner named Kite, who I do not believe is in Adventures. Like maybe there's like one of the Sky Runners named Kite, but I don't know. Oh, is that the one that she flies in on? Is that it? I don't really. I don't know. Like it's that kind of thing, right? Like Starbucks Adventures has like such a cool opening with like Crystal and like her flying in and like fighting that ship and like doing all this stuff. Like, yeah, yeah. If it was like better, this would have been like awesome. Like if it incorporated like the Starbucks segments with like the adventuring stuff better, it would have been like amazing. Like I don't know, like why I don't get why the final boss is Andross and why you fight him with like the terrible R. Like if the R wing was actually good, that would have made sense and it would have been like really fitting and really would have made it like feel like there are things with adventures that I think could have worked, like Falco leaving and then coming back to save the day at the end. Like that was actually really cool. So and they don't really like even explain it. Like it just sort of happens. Like Falco is just like inexplicably not there, and like the entire game builds up to like teases him coming back, sort of like where's Falco? Like, and then he's back by Assault like nothing happened. It's just really bizarre. Um, very very strange. Let's see here. Is there anything else to say about Adventures specifically? Like again, there are things I like about it. Like I like how the dinosaurs behave. I like Tricky could have been an interesting take on it, like because like there's nothing like Tricky in Zelda, right? Like Tricky could have been like an interesting take on the whole thing. Uh, this is one of the reasons I'm so fascinated by the idea that the original game, Dinosaur Planet, was supposed to have two characters with like two different abilities. So yeah, yeah, I was about to sign off too. I was going to just wait until the half an hour. Yeah, yeah, yeah. We're definitely going to talk about this in the future. Yeah. I think that's all I had to say anyway. Yeah, I wanted to talk about adventures. I talked about Assault. I talked about Command. I talked about Zero. I talked about 64. Yeah, so that's my Star Fox stream. Lots of stuff to talk about. Very great series. I'm very excited about what we're going to see in the future.